listening to the Bluejay Breakdown.
Welcome to the Bluejay Breakdown. I'm Anna Bellinghausen, joined by head coach of the Creighton women's basketball team, Jim Flannery. Coach, how are you doing today?
Doing well. It's October's a great month to be a coach because you haven't lost a game, but you're in the gym a lot with your team, and your stress level's not super high yet. So it's a good day.
We're 0-0, so it doesn't.
We're 0-0.
There's
Right.
no pressure. Nothing's happening yet.
Yep.
Well, this team was picked second in those Big East ranks, and then, of course, starting 22 in the national ranks. I asked Lauren about this, but do you put any weight into that? Do you guys talk about that?
We haven't talked about that as a team. I feel like our team has been together long enough. They kind of understand. First of all, they're around each other, so I'm sure they talk about it a little bit, but I don't know that they need me to fuel them. And I think they know that we're a good team, but whether you're rated 15th or 25th or 35th or 50th at this time, I think it's just about, being in the gym, being together, and getting ready for that November. Because once it comes, it's full go.
Right.
I look and I think, geez, in a month we'll have already been to Cancun and be back, and that's not too far down the road.
No, not at all. Before we look ahead to that season, I want to rewind back to the NCAA tournament and obviously that early exit. Do you still talk and think about that, and does that fuel this team?
Yeah, I hope that it does fuel us, and I feel like, we talked a little bit, not right after the season, but after a little bit of a break, and just said, look, this could be, for this coming year, that could be the best thing that happened to us. It stinks in the moment, because we just weren't very good that day, and we're really disappointed. But I do feel like it'll be a good fuel, and was a good fuel for us in the off season. I feel like it, is kind of the perfect storm in terms of, we know we have a good team. Mm-hmm. We proved that we could make a run 2 years ago. We have a lot of the same pieces, and I think just the little improvement daily, maybe that, plus just handling the pressure of last year. I feel like this year we have the experience of having gone through that last year. So maybe we can be just a little bit better in terms of knowing that there are high expectations, but not oftentimes just giving into those expectations.
Right, and I think that just comes with the experience of the team, too. I mean, you look at your returners, Ronsick, Jensen, Morgan Molly, and Molly Mogensen. I mean, that's your scoring, right? Yeah. That's your quartet that you guys have relied so heavily on the past years, and now they're seniors, and you get another year under their belt from last year in NCAA tournament, and you look at them now, what has improved between, I guess, just last year and right now and what you've seen in these early practices?
Well, first of all, they're all very competitive people, and so a lot of you talk about that core four. A lot of times I'll put two on one team and two on the other, and let them go at it, and just so you just see their competitiveness every day, and I think that's what makes you a better team, is that they fight to win each drill and practice, and so you get better that way. You get just a little bit tougher, and then I think just as a coach and as a staff, we're maybe able to, run one different thing for Morgan than we've run in the past because of our continuity, or run one different thing for Emma or Lauren, or, so there's just a little bit better continuity, even based on what we've seen them be able to do and how much their games kind of individually have evolved. So you can scheme just a little bit differently. And then at the defensive end, I feel like there's a value to having that connectedness of having played together too. I said the other day at Big East Media Day that, we're not going to get any taller or probably a lot quicker over the next few months, nor have we since last season, but experience matters on defense too. Your communication, your connectedness, your ability to see things coming before they happen, and just defending certain plays or actions that teams have, I think so. And we can make a little bit of a jump. Like I said, we're not going to necessarily be an elite defensive team because we have some physical limitations, but the experience factor plays on that end too, and I think sometimes people overlook that.
Mm-hmm. It can even be just one more play, right? A play that they wouldn't have made last year that they can make this year because, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be a huge difference maker in that experience. I also want to talk about just the fluidity of the positions at Creighton. I think it's such a unique team, and I think it was to your advantage 2 years ago in the NCAA tournament because no one had really seen a team like Creighton and the shooter ability, and maybe you didn't have enough size, but that didn't matter because everyone was a threat on the perimeter and also inside. So did that kind of just work out that way, or was this something that you were reaching for?
Well, we have some unique, like Morgan's and Emma's skill sets are pretty rare for their size. And, Emma's a little bit more of a ball handler guard. Morgan's a little bit more of a catch and shoot player, but for their size, they do each have a unique skill set. And we've had that in the past. Audrey Faber was 6'1" and very multidimensional and skilled, but to have two on one team who are kind of in their prime at the same time, I think gives us a different look than a lot of teams. And I just think there are a lot of or you can put your more mobile defender on one of them, but that leaves a less mobile defender on the other, and they're just so versatile. And like you said, we can have Emma bring the ball down the floor. We can, which gives teams a different look. And so we try to play to that. I feel like what you're saying about us being different can be an advantage because we're pretty unique in terms of how we shoot it from all five positions. Yeah,
it's definitely not your standard, right? You don't just have the big man in the middle, on the glass like a Ryan Kalkbrenner, right? You got to work around this team in different ways. Looking at this season specifically, I want to talk about your non-conference schedule. A little bit nicer this year, Coach. You're not going out to Stanford. You're not playing, what was it, like 2 top 10 teams on back-to-back road trips. But what went into that scheduling this year, still playing some really tough competition?
Yeah, we've got a lot of good teams that are regional. I mean, I think we added Green Bay, who has a tremendous women's basketball tradition. They won 26 or more games last year. Wyoming has traditionally been at the top of the Mountain West. I think they're picked second or third this year. We got to go to their place and play in altitude. So those are challenges that we haven't had. And then the kind of normal cast where we've got Drake, who was in the NCAA tournament last year and almost beat Louisville in the first round. We've got South Dakota State, who won a game in the NCAA tournament. South Dakota and Northern Iowa, really good mid-major programs, and then Nebraska. And so and then we play 2 power conference teams in Cancun. So it's yes, we don't have that Stanford, but it's a very quality schedule, and it'll really test us.
Do you think that is what helps you set up these girls for the NCAA tournament? Seeing those teams, is that the goal for that?
There are 2 goals. Is one, you want the toughness to be able to have to be up almost every game or every game. And then your resume, right? I mean, those are good wins, like winning at South Dakota State last year, beating Drake at home, beating Northern Iowa on the road. Those are really quality wins, and the committee recognizes that. And so it's about building a resume, but it's also about just getting better as a basketball team. And when you play good teams, you get exposed. And I just, last year, I mean, maybe the most impressive thing was our road record. I mean, it took us a long time to lose a road game.
You were better on the road than
I know, we were.
Yeah.
I think we were 12-3 on the road. And when you think about some of the road wins that we had, I think that's a mark of a really good team and a tough team, because you can't go on the road and win if you don't stay together and get through the bumps, because you're gonna see adversity on the road. You're gonna have potential to fracture, and we just didn't do that at all, hardly on the road.
Yeah, especially with the travel schedule of the Big East too, and obviously being in Omaha, it's not the easiest travel to get over to the East Coast for sure.
Right.
Also want to talk about bringing Jalen Agnew on staff. How exciting was that when you confirmed that with Jalen and got her on? Yeah,
I mean, Jalen's is going to be a great person for us to have on staff. I mean, I've already kind of figured that out. I mean, she's gotten more comfortable on the court already in the last 6-7 weeks, but just even around the office, her ability to kind of just take something and go with it, and So we're going to use her in different ways. I think she can help us even from a marketing standpoint, but she's got some good ideas, and she's obviously not very far removed from her playing days, which I think helps, your elite players to she's got that, one, she's got the cachet because they know how good she was, and two, she can kind of maybe help them when they're struggling a little bit. Hey, here's what I did, or here's what I was thinking when I hit a speed bump. And so, I'm excited. I think I was excited the day I hired her, and I'm more excited today. So that's a good thing.
Someone else I'm excited to see this year, Lexi Unruh, finally getting to be on the court. I heard it was her first full contact practice back. How exciting is that for the team, just having her physicality and her athleticism?
Yeah, I'm happy for her. She's been through a lot, and just everybody's pulling for her to be healthy and get a chance to be on the court. And yeah, she's probably our best athlete. I mean, if you talk about size, strength, and ability to get off the floor. Now it's going to take her a while as a basketball player to get comfortable and do all the things that she can do. But I think getting on the court this year and with this type of team, she gives us some versatility, because I think defensively she's got a real high upside, and she's been in the gym enough to work on her skills. So I'm hopeful that she can stay healthy, because nobody deserves it more. And I know if she does, she's going to help us.
One thing that's fascinating to me about this program is your transfer rate, which is probably, 0 in the past 22 years. It's incredible, right? Yeah. You don't see that in college basketball nowadays with the era we're in with the transfer portal. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think Creighton's a great school, and I think, even if the basketball experience isn't perfect, which it's not for most, hopefully it's really good, or at least good. But I think the value of the education and just the experience of being in a smaller school and having relationships outside the basketball court is huge. I think we've done a good job on the front end of identifying good people who are good teammates, and that helps create a good culture. If you just recruit anybody and you don't care about what some of the red flags might be in the recruiting process and overlook all those, then you end up with somebody who probably isn't going to fit in when they get here. So we've done a good job of identifying good human beings on the front end. And then my assistant coaches do a great job of weathering the storms of just being a college student. And because everybody at some point in Division I basketball thinks they're not quite good enough, or am I really made for this? And I think my staff, because they're just a little bit closer to that age, and better, and quite frankly, just better at that than I am. They're good at kind of normalizing the bad parts of the experience, and just telling them, hey, it's going to get better, and it does get better, and so that's a big piece of it too. And I think we've continued to value women's athletics at a higher level than we ever have, and I think our players kind of identify that. We're not losing kids because we don't have everything. We don't have the money that Texas or Ohio State or whoever has, but we've got enough to be successful, and I think our players see that too.
I want to touch on that a little bit, just the growth of women's sports. We saw the highest TV numbers for the final for women's in the NCAA tournament. How have you seen that grow from your time coaching?
Yeah, it's really exciting to see the trajectory of women's basketball. I feel like there's a lot of momentum. I think they're more good players than ever. That's I think clear, and I think the television opportunities have really helped our sport. I mean, social media has played into that too, but I do think that we've gotten a lot more exposure, and deservedly so, and we've got some good, strong voices in the sport. But the bottom line is the quality of play has improved to the point where I think it's just a more marketable product. And the other part is that I think schools have finally come around to committing more consistently in taking care of women. I mean, Title IX was in the early 70s, way before you were born. Unfortunately, I was alive, but I think in a lot of cases, it wasn't really valued at the level that it has now finally become valued. The more money, the more resources and investment that people throw into it, the more I think women feel valued, and the harder that they a lot of times work, and then your fan base and those people who are interested see something that's better, and they buy into the idea that they're helping provide a great opportunity for young women.
Yeah, if you build it, they'll come, as Holly Rowe always says. And it is true. You see it across all women's sports, so it's amazing. I want to leave you on this, Coach. What do you challenge your team most with this year in either improvement or what you want to see on the court? What would your biggest challenge to your team be?
I think to play with joy and value the everyday, because I do think, like we talked earlier, you don't want the pressure to be. I feel like we have a group of competitors, and we have a group that likes each other, loves each other, honestly. So you just want them to kind of put it in perspective every day. Like, hey, you get an opportunity to come here every day and practice with your best friends, and to prepare to play, and then go ahead and play against a great schedule with your best friends. And so I really think athletics is kind of about kind of framing the right amount of pressure to put on yourself. You can't play so freely that you don't prepare the right way, and you don't put some thought into why you're defending somebody differently than you're defending somebody else. But you can't be so rigid and so paralyzed by pressure that you don't perform. So I think it's about having the right amount of tension in your approach. And I think for me, that would be, I think if we do that, if we can kind of navigate that and just live in that, hey, we love each other, we're committed to the game. If we can operate in that space, that we'll be successful. And and just everybody maybe commit to one or two things about which we can oftentimes be stubborn. Even as a coach, it's like, okay, where can I be a little less stubborn about where I need to improve?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time today. Best of luck this season. We can't wait to watch you guys.
Great to be here, Anna. Appreciate all that you do for us.
Absolutely. Thanks, Flan.
Okay. Thanks, Anna.
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.